So one of my favorite cuts of beef has to be the picanha, or as we call it here in the UK, the rump cap. So thankfully it's pretty easy to come by in this country. Your local butcher most likely will sell it. You might have to ask for it specifically. It is very, very flavorful. It can be kind of lean, but the flavor makes up for that. And the flavor is definitely one of the reasons why I like it, but also if you can get a picanha with a thick, consistent fat cap, cook that over some fire, get that fat cap really, really well rendered, and if you can, even get it crispy, it is delicious. So I'm going to show you how I like to cook picanha at home. So what I've got here is a nice small picanha. Got it from Booker Wholesaler, and you should be able to see pretty immediately it's got a really nice thick and consistent fat cap. I had to pick through quite a few of these before I found one that was completely covered. Some of them had some scalping. But yeah, as you can see, pretty lean, at least this one is. And in terms of the prep work, pretty much nothing required. Some people like to score this to help the fat render. I personally think that we'll be able to render all this fat and get it nice and crispy without scoring it. Backside, not much to do. Take off any silver skin if it's there. And then in terms of seasoning this, you could do whatever you want. I'm going to keep it very traditional. I'm going to be using Alfragone's grilling salt. This is basically coarse rock salt. And I'm going to be seasoning it fat cap first because we're going to be cooking this fat side down. So I want the side that's going to be facing up when I cook it to be the last side that I season. And that's pretty much it. Obviously you could go on with salt, pepper, all that kind of stuff. Today, as I say, I'm keeping it super, super traditional, simple. And we're going to be making up a chimichurri and some rice with this to bring in some additional flavors. So in terms of cooking this, if I had something like a tagwood grill, somewhere I could increase or decrease the height of the grill grate from the fire, I'd probably use that. But I don't have one of those, so today I'm going to be using the chud box. That's going to allow me to cook directly over coals whilst maintaining a good amount of heat, so I can cook this relatively slowly, render all those fats down, but it not get too charry. So we're going to fire up the chud box now. Salted picanha is going to come in, fat cap down. Push that on, make some nice contact. We'll shut that down. The chud box is probably going to cook around 300, 275, 300, something like that for the next little bit. Meanwhile, it's pretty hard to beat a fresh chimichurri when it comes to accompaniments with picanha, so we're going to make one up. Got some flat leaf parsley, garlic, chilies, and a bowl. I'm going to finely slice this. Small chop on the red chili. Any seeds that stick around can stay. Can go in. Then we'll go in with some salt, some freshly cracked black pepper, some oregano, and then for now, just enough red wine vinegar to partially submerge it all. Mix that round. And then I'm gonna leave this for 20 minutes. It's gonna allow the acidity from the red wine vinegar to take out the very top notes of rawness from the garlic and the chili. So we'll come back in 20 minutes. Coming back, we're gonna add some olive oil. Give that a good mix. Give that a taste. Absolutely spot on. We can set this aside. So about an hour or so later, this is temping at about 110 Fahrenheit, which is perfect. I want to take this up to about 130, maybe just below. Checking that with my chef's temp final touch. And now it's time to turn this over. So it should be nice, golden, crispy in some places, perfectly rendered. I'll flip this over and start to cook the other side. Whoa. Look at that, all that crispy fat. I'm gonna flip this over and start cooking the underside now. Cook this now until it gets to around 125, something like that. So while that picanha continues to cook, I'm gonna make up what some people refer to as Brazilian rice. It's basically white rice with garlic and sometimes a little bit of onion, some salt, and it is a really welcome accompaniment to some rich beef. And it's really, really easy to do. In with the garlic and onion, olive oil. Very gently sweat those down. Once the garlic and onion has cooked off a little bit, we're gonna go in with a small cup of rice, salt, mix that round and toast off the rice a little bit in that oil. Once that's toasted off, we're gonna go with the same container, 1.5. Lid on, bring that up to a boil, and as soon as it has boiled, turn the heat down to low and cook it until all the water has absorbed. Then don't stir it, don't do anything, leave the lid on, leave it for 10 minutes, it will be perfect. So not too much time later, this thing is probing about 120, 125. So we're gonna take this off, let it rest, let it carry over and temp a little bit. We should have a nice, perfectly cooked picanha with a crispy fat cap. Let's take it inside. So this picanha has been resting for 15 minutes or so. It's got a beautiful, crispy fat cap. Slice into it and see how it is. That is looking good. That is looking very, very good. Nice and evenly cooked. You can see that crispy fat cap, nice and rendered. All that beautiful rendering across the top. That is really nice and crispy. Give it a taste. Wow, that is honestly perfect. Perfectly salted with that coarse rock salt. I love picanha. Just look at that, nice and juicy. Not overcooked or anything. Tri-tips and picanha, no matter how long you rest them, they always leak out. Plate some of this up. Go down with some of this garlic rice. And then of course, some of that chimney, which by the way, works great with the rice as well. Definitely not mad about that. That is a delicious plate of food. Gonna go in for some of this rice first. I love it. When it mixes with the resting juices from the beef and the chimichurri, can't beat it. Yeah, it's got everything you could want from a piece of steak. Really, really good flavor in the picanha itself. Perfectly salted, cooked over coals. Chimichurri is obviously always good, but really happy with how that came out. And yeah, pretty much my favorite way to cook picanha. So I sliced quite a bit of this up purely for the thumbnail, or potential thumbnail, but I think I'm just gonna eat it. You obviously don't have to have a chub box to cook this. You could reverse sear it, cook it on an offset, cook it on a pellet grill. I'm sure there are plenty of videos out there on how to cook a picanha. But if you do have an open fire situation like a tagwood, a chud box, or maybe even just taking your baffle plate out of something like a Weber Smoky Mountain, then I definitely recommend cooking it like this. I know I keep saying it, but the crispy fat really does make a difference. So if you enjoyed this video at all, or it inspired you, or you gained something from it, please like, comment, subscribe. It really, really does help me out. Please share the video if you know someone else who you think might like it. And generally I've been getting a lot of feedback recently when I meet people in person that ask whether I'm on a break or whether I'm still doing YouTube. And every time I explain to them that I make a video a week, and I have done for nearly 2 years. So I think for some reason people just aren't seeing my videos. So something that you could do to really help me out, and it takes literally no time at all, is to click the notification bell. That'll tell you when a new video of mine comes out. And if it looks like something that you're interested in, give it a watch. But yeah, thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was useful. I'll see you next week for another video.